Hi everyone, Carol Nams here with Carol Nams Life Hacks. And today I want to talk about how to prepare for an interview. This is because I know there are a lot of unemployed people out there, and you get through interview processes and somehow you end up getting more rejections than acceptances into real job offers. Well, the truth is most of us get more rejections. Like personally, I think I've gotten more than 50 rejections over the last few years, because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So the first thing you have to always remember when looking out for a new job or a new position is to make as many applications as possible. But even as you do so, be sure to apply to jobs that you already are qualified for, and that will actually increase your chances of getting called or getting shortlisted. A lot of us, and something I also used to do in my earlier days, was to just send out random job applications and keep my fingers crossed that somebody's gonna give me some feedback. However, that is not a good use of your time. I will encourage you to look out for jobs that you are actually qualified for. If you're an entry level, meaning that you're fresh out of college and looking for your first job, then look for entry level job opportunities. If you're a junior officer, meaning you have 2 to 3 years of work experience after college, then you want to look out for those that do state that. If you're a middle-level manager, meaning that you have around 5 years of work experience, then that's also what you should be looking out for. And you keep on climbing from middle-level manager, you move on to senior-level manager, which is around 8 years of experience, up to senior-level management, where I'm at now, which is about 10 and above years of experience. So that's just a by the way and a brief introduction. I'm going to give you a few points about how to succeed in a job interview. Then these are just general points. I'm not delving into any details, although we can enter some details at another point in time or in a different video. The first thing you need to do, apart from looking out for jobs that you are actually qualified for, is to make sure that your CV actually matches the job requirements. What I'm talking about is that, for example, a job qualification requirement or job ad might be looking for someone who has training and facilitation skills, as well as experience as a team leader, for example, and experience as someone working in an urban center, just as basic examples. Your CV might be talking about that, or you might be having that experience, but you are using a different set of words. For example, instead of training, you might be using the word teaching. Instead of qualification around working in urban centers, you might be using the word town or metropolitan. So what you need to do always is look at the job description, look at your CV, and make sure that you're matching word for word. Use the kind of descriptive terms and the phrases that are being used in the advertisement or in the job description. Use those in your CV as well. This is because nowadays there is a system called the ATS system, which is actually a robot which sieves through CVs and looks out for matching keywords. And when those keywords, even though they might be similar in meaning, but they don't match in actual representation on paper, they will just not sieve your CV and bring it out as a match for that job. So whenever you're applying, and especially when you're applying online, make sure that you're matching the keywords, you're matching key phrases on the job ad to your CV, to your resume. That will really up your chances of getting shortlisted in the first place. So once you're shortlisted, what should you do to maybe help you land that job offer? One thing you have to do is to make sure that you prepare for the interview. A lot of times we don't take it seriously enough. Young people don't put enough seriousness behind an interview. An interview is actually an exam. It's that serious. It's something that needs you to be fully focused and prepared. Just the way you were prepared when you were doing your exams. You spent a lot of time, you woke up early, you slept late, you went through notes, you did your background research, you did a lot, you put effort behind it. So every interview is taken with that level of seriousness. You need to do background research on the organization or on the company that's advertising. You need to understand the people who are going to be interviewing you. You need to fully understand the requirements of that role, and you also need to have a full understanding of what your own skills and qualifications are about. And you must be able to answer their questions well, because that is a key requirement. And the only way you can answer well is if you do enough background preparation. Another thing is practice. We don't put enough effort behind practice. Beyond doing the background research and making sure you understand the details of the job, it's very, very important that you take time to practice. Practice is like being a poet or being in drama. For those of us who were lucky enough to be in the theater arts, you know what that's about. It means going over and over something. It's looking in the mirror, speaking to yourself, reading those lines, memorizing, internalizing specific narratives. And that's what really a good job interview will require you to do. A good outcome of a job interview requires you to do. You need to preempt questions that are going to be asked, and then you need to practice how you're going to answer those questions. You need to listen to yourself speak, listen to yourself articulate specific words and phrases. You need to know what's the best way to articulate something, what's the best way to phrase something, and decide what path you're going to take or what approach you're going to take in terms of answering questions. So that's preparation for you. You must be able to do your background research, and you must be able to practice. On the eventual day of the interview, this is number 3, it's very important and critical that you are well presented. You must come to the interview, whether it's an online interview or an in-person interview, you must come looking sharp and confident. I always request or remind people or suggest to people that blue is a good color to go with, especially in a first interview, because colors do play on our psyche, and colors have meanings in our brains, whether you believe that or not. When you wear blue, you come out as a more trustworthy kind of person and more solid. Blue, and I'm not talking about baby blue or light blue, I'm talking about probably dark blue, sky blue, the darker shades of blue that don't make you look childish or kiddish or soft, but that really speak to a solid character, a trustworthy character. Those are the blues you need to use when you're going in for your first interview. If you're a gentleman, you probably want to make that a dark blue coat over a shirt, or if you're not going to use a coat or a jacket, you're probably just going to have a blue shirt. You want to keep away from heavy prints, anything that kind of takes the attention of the interviewer away from you as a person. So you want to stay away from big flowery prints, a lot of moving pieces around you. Keep off the jewelry, lots of earrings, lots of makeup, a lot of heavy rings and bracelets. Take away all of that and just be yourself and look the part that you want to play. Every employer wants to employ someone who's trustworthy and reliable, someone who can be goal-oriented and committed to their work. And you come off looking that way when you present yourself as confident in a strong shade of blue and without distractions to your person. So that's how you need to come presented on that day. There are many other things that you need to put into consideration when preparing for an interview. However, I don't want to go into all those today. First, I'd like you to think about the key areas that I've talked about today, which are, make sure you do your background. Let me start from the beginning, which are, first of all, make sure your CV matches the job advertisement or the job requirements. We use the ATS system nowadays to sieve through CVs, and this is a computerized system that's online. You can actually Google online and have a free test of that ATS system for a job ad against your CV. So match your CV to key words and phrases of the job ad. Very important. And then make sure you do background research and learn not just the organization but the role that is being advertised for. The next thing you want to do is to practice, memorize, go through, look at the mirror and speak to yourself. Listen to your voice and hear yourself speaking the phrases and words that are in your head that you think you're able to articulate on that day. And that by doing that, you'll be able to edit and correct yourself before the D-Day. When that day comes, remember that you want to go in confident and looking sharp. You probably want to go with the color blue because it portrays you as someone who is trustworthy, reliable, and committed to their work. Beyond that, you want to make sure that you don't come with anything that is distracting the attention of the interviewer from your person. When you do those things, you'll already be one step ahead of getting a job offer. It is possible to go into greater details on how you can prepare for your next job interview or to perform really well in your next job interview, but I will not do that today. I'll do that in my next video. In order to get those points from me, make sure you subscribe to my channel, follow me, and look out for my notifications. Remember to like this specific video so that I can do more for you, and ask me any questions in the comments that you would want me to respond to. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.